Hi, welcome to my channel Ruby Nets Crochet y Tejido. In this video I'm going to teach you how to crochet this beautiful and easy poncho. I absolutely love it and I hope you guys like it and give it a try. And here is the list of material you're gonna need to make it. If you're not already a subscriber, please subscribe and click the little bell, that way you get notification each time I upload a video. Remember, I make my videos in Spanish and English. If you receive a Spanish video and you want to see in English, go to the main page of my YouTube channel, there you'll find the English version in there. In that main page, I have also a playlist. It's Ruby Stedman English tutorials, and you'll have all my English videos in that playlist. To make this poncho, this is the yarn I'm gonna use, the Loose and Thread Muse, 100 grams, 185 meters, so they don't have a lot of meters. It's medium 4, 93% acrylic, 7% polyester, and it's light gray with a little black thread throughout. You're gonna need 4.5 of these. You're gonna need a contrast color. From this one, this is a leftover from another project. You're only gonna need a little bit. If you don't have this type of yarn, you can use any medium 4, like the Loose and Thread Impeccable. That's fine, as long as medium 4. The crochet hook is 6mm. You're gonna need tapestry needle and scissor and measuring tape if you want to guide yourself by my measurements. Remember, it's 4.5 of these that you're gonna need if you use this type. I don't know how many of the other ones, because the other one, the Loops and Thread, is 127.5 grams, so I have a little bit more yarn on them. We're gonna start with a slip knot with the main color. We're gonna chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Yarn over, and you're gonna go to the first chain and you're gonna do a double crochet. The stitch that we're gonna do is the V stitch. So this is your first V, the tip of your poncho. You're gonna chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You're gonna turn your work around, and the same space where those 5 chain came out, you're gonna do on top of that double crochet. You're gonna do a double crochet. Yarn over. You're gonna count the first chain that you did a double crochet, 1, 2, and then the third one you're gonna do a double crochet, chain 2, and a double crochet in the same space, and that's your second V stitch. And you see you have already 1 and 2 in the second row, and that's the base of your poncho. Again, you're gonna chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and as long as you're increasing V stitches, you're always going to start with a chain of 5. You're going to turn your work around, and in that same space where you start the chain of 5, you're going to do a double crochet, yarn over. Now the V stitches going to be in between V stitches, no inside V stitches, is in between, in the space that you create in between them. That's where you're going to do your V stitches. So you're going to do a double crochet, chain 2, a double crochet in the same space, yarn over. You're going to count 1, 2, and the third chain you're going to do a double crochet, chain 2, and a double crochet in the same space, and now you have 3 V stitch on the third row. So you start with 1, and then 1 and 2, and then 1, 2, and 3. The next V stitches, they're gonna be in here, in between these two, in that space, in between, in here, that space. So in each row, you'll increase 1 V stitch. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 5. Turn your work around, in the same space, you're gonna do a double crochet, yarn over, and the space between these two, and the space you're gonna do a double crochet, chain 2, another double crochet, yarn over. You're gonna go between these two and that space. You're gonna do a double crochet, chain 2, a double crochet, yarn over, we are at the chain 5, so you're going to count 1, 2, and 3, and the third chain you're going to do a double crochet, chain 2, and another double crochet. And that's the stitch that we're going to do for the poncho. Like that, we're going to be increasing our stitches. We start with 1, now we have 4. So like I mentioned, in each row you're going to increase 1 V stitch. Now we're going to go for row 5. Again, you're going to chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You're going to turn your work around. You're going to do a V stitches here in the same space where you did that double crochet. You create your first V stitch, yarn over, you go in between these two, you're gonna do double crochet, chain 2, a double crochet in the same space, yarn over, another one between these two, chain 2, another double crochet in the same space. Just keep the V stitch, and you see you go in the space in between. And you do your V stitch, yarn over, and you see, and here when you go to the last one, you'll see that the third chain is right in the corner there. So you don't need to be counting or anything. You will go to the corner chain, and that will be your third chain. Chain 2 and another double crochet, and you have 5 V stitches now. So I'll show you one more time. You chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Turn your work around in the same space in that corner. You're going to do a double crochet to create your first V stitch. Yarn over in between these two. You see, it's always in between these spaces where you do your V stitch. Okay, so you're going to do a double crochet, chain 2, double crochet in the same space, another V stitch. So in this one I will have 6. Very easy, very fast. Like I say, you can do this in no time. Next one, and the last one, and you see that third stitch, it turned to be the little point in the corner. Chain 2 and a double crochet. And you see, you start with 1 and then 2, 3, 4, 5, and now you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and the next one 7, and so on. So you're gonna work until you have 31 V stitches, and that will be the half of the poncho. And then I will meet you here to start with the decrease and the shaping of the shoulders. I've done a row, and I want to give you the measurement, that way you know if your yarn and your work measure the same as mine as your work. So from this step to this one, it measure 6 inches, and 6 inches is 15 centimeters, and from here to here is 9, and that is 23 centimeters. So 6 to here, 9 from this one, you see, to that one here, where the tip of the third chains go, and that is 9 inches. So I just wanted to give you the measurement, that way you can guide yourself if the yarn that you are using will give you the same measurements as mine. So I'll continue working until I have my 31 V stitch, and I will meet you here. I finished my 31 V stitches. I measured the piece from the beginning to one of the tip and measured 23 inches, that's 58 centimeters, and the longer part measured 33 inches, that's 84 centimeters. Now we're going to do 2 rows to prepare the piece for the decrease. And in the third row, we're going to start the decreases on each side. That way we shape the shoulder and the neck part of our poncho. Now you're going to chain 3. You're going to turn your work around. And in that same space where the chain 3 came out, you're going to do a double crochet. Yarn over, and you're going to do a V-stitch in between each V-stitch. So that's what you're going to do in this one after you have your 31 V-stitches. I will meet you here at the end of this row to show you how you're going to finish and start the next one. So this will be going that way. I finished the last V-stitch. Now yarn over in the third chain. You're going to do 2 double crochet. And like that is how you finish this row. Now we're going to chain 3, turn our work around, and then we're going to work in the next row before we start the decrease. Once you chain 3 and you turn your work around, you're going to do a V-stitch in between those 2 V-stitch. Chain 2, and you're going to continue doing your V-stitch in between V-stitch until you get to the last one, and I will meet you here to finish this row and start the next one with a row of decrease. What you're going to do in next row, you will do in all the row. I finished one ball of yarn. Now I'm going to show you how I'm going to change to the next one. You see, I chain 1 after that double crochet. I'm going to do a slip knot. And I'm going to pass that loop through that double crochet, through those 2 strands that you have in the top of the double crochet. You're going to pass that loop. And you're going to continue working with a new ball of yarn the rest of the poncho. Later I will lose those tails and you don't want to see where you have your change of ball of yarn. I did the last V-stitch in the space between this V-stitch and that double crochet. Now you're going to do a double crochet on top of the last one. That was the third chain. You did 3 chains to turn your work around. So in the third one, you're going to do the last double crochet. Now what we're going to do in the next row, you're going to do in all the row at the beginning, at the end, you're going to do exactly the same. And you're going to decrease your V-stitches until you have only 13 V-stitches for the part of your neck. I'm going to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to turn my work around. And now we're going to start the decrease rows. And we're going to do the first V-stitch in between these 2 V-stitch. No in between this V and the double crochet and here. And that will decrease a V-stitch. So you're going to do your double crochet, chain 2, and another double crochet in the same space to create a V-stitch. And you see you decrease in here and this start to go that way. Now you're going to do a V-stitch in between every V-stitch until you get to the last 2, and I will meet you there. I'm working in the last V-stitch in between the last 2. Double crochet, chain 2, another double crochet in the same space, and then you see you had the V-stitch, and you go to the top of the third chain. You're going to do your double crochet, you're going to chain 3, you're going to turn your work around, yarn over, and you go between these 2 V-stitch in that space, and you're going to do your V-stitch. So a double crochet, chain 2, and another double crochet, and you see, you skip in this one and in that one, they're out, and now you are in between these two. So it's already start to take that shape all the way up. So do your V-stitches. At the end, I will show you how to finish this row, how to start the next one, and from there you can continue until you have 13 V-stitches left for the part of the last V-stitch in between these two. And now you're gonna do a double crochet on the third chain in here. You see it's a little bit slanted there in the third chain. You're gonna do your double crochet, 1, 2, and 3 more chains. You're gonna turn your work around, and you're gonna do the V-stitch in between these two V-stitch. You go in that space and create your stitch, and you're gonna continue with your V-stitches until you get to the last two. In between those two, you do the last one and a double crochet on top of the third chain. But when I get to the end of this one, I will show you one more time in case you need a little extra help, and how to start the next row. And it starts to look like this. I did the last V-stitch, yarn over, and the third chain. So you see you have this V-stitch, and then you have the 3 chains in the side. In the third chain, you're gonna do your double crochet. You're gonna chain 3, and you see in that third chain is where you do your double crochet and the way back to finish. So you turn your work around, and you skip that first V-stitch, and you go in between that one and the next one, and here, and you do your V-stitch. Oh, I forgot the yarn over. And like that, you're going to continue with your decrease until you have 13 V-stitch left. Let me show you the one that I already made. This one. This is the top, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 V-stitch. So make your 2 pieces for your poncho exactly the same, and once you have the 2 of them made, I will meet you here to continue with our beautiful piece. Once you have your 13 V-stitch that you do your double crochet, you will chain 1, cut the yarn, and leave a tail long enough to sew one at the side. And the same you're gonna do in the other piece to sew the other side of our ponchos together. Here I have the 2 top part where I have my 13 V-stitches on the top, and I have my tapestry needle ready to sew this side, these 2 pieces together, and then with the other strand, the other 2 pieces together. Now we're gonna sew the 2 sides together, and you have to make sure that you sew them nice and even. So you're gonna sew in the other side, in the top of the third chain, you're gonna sew those 2 sides together, and you're gonna pass it through again in the piece where that tail is coming out to secure that top of your poncho. Now you're gonna match every single stitch from one side to the next one. Remember, you have the same amount of rows, so that's a very easy piece to sew even. You will see once you have your poncho in front of you how easy it will be to match one row in one side to the other one. But it's very important that you sew them even, that way you have an even piece at the end. The same way that you sewed this side, you're gonna do the same in the other side, and then I will meet you here. Now we're gonna do single crochet all the way around the neck. So I'm gonna do a slip knot, and I'm gonna count 6 at the V-stitch and number 7, that is the center. You get 6 on one side, 6 on the other one is 12, plus the one in the center is 13, so that is the center V-stitch. So I'm gonna do a chain, and I'm gonna do single crochet. So we have to do 72 single crochet all the way around, and the best way to do it is to, from the center, and here do 18 to this seam, 36 in the front, and 18 in this side, and that's your 72 stitches. You're gonna space them as you can, as long as you have your 72 stitches. It's not a way to do it. You just space them around. I'm gonna do the last single crochet in the same space where I did the first one. That's my 18 and the other side at the back, and I'm gonna do a slip stitch and the first single crochet. I'm gonna chain 3, and I'm gonna do a double crochet on top of each single crochet for a total of 72 double crochet. So really, you don't have to have exactly 72. You can have 76, you can have 74, as long as multiple of 2, it's no problem. But I said 72, that way this part is a little more close in the part of the neck. I'll meet you here at the end when I have my 72. I have my 72 double crochet. Now I'm gonna do a slip stitch on top of the first double crochet, and I'm gonna chain 3, and in the same double crochet in the back strand I'm gonna do a double crochet. I was going to work the post, that's why the 72 stitches, but I try it, and with this yarn it get a little bit stiff, I find. It's yarn that have a, you know, a soft flow. So I decided to work the back post, the back strand. If you like to work a 1 by 1 back post, front post, you can do that for this part. But like this, it will be nicest for mine. So you're gonna work in the back strand. You see, you have the front and the back. In the back, you're gonna do your double crochet. So that's what I'm gonna do for mine. So that's why the 72 stitches to work the front and back post, but since I'm gonna do this, it don't matter. I'm gonna finish with the slip stitch and the first double crochet. I'm gonna chain 3, and I'm gonna do my first double crochet in the back strand at the same double crochet, and I'm gonna work all my double crochet like that in the back strand, and I'm gonna do those repetitions until I have 4.5 inches. That is around 12 centimeters. You're gonna work in the back strand, and then when you have that width, you're gonna switch around, and instead to work the back strand, you're gonna work the front strand. That way, when you fold over your neck collar, you will have this nice design in the outside of your piece. When I have those 4.5 inches, I will meet you here to show you how you're gonna switch them around. Okay? I have my 4.5 inches, and that's measuring from there to the first row of double crochet is exactly 4.5. Now we're gonna do exactly the same amount of round. For me was 7, counting that first one in here. And we're gonna do the reverse. We're gonna chain 3, and this time we're gonna work through the front strand, all of them. And I set to the back the front strand on every single round. And you will see that this is where this will fall in half. You see, it's like this, and it will fall in half once and you done this round, and then the other ones, it will show this in the front. This line will be in the front of your piece. So I will meet you here when I have done those 7 rounds through the I finished that part with the main color. So this part is optional with the black. I only did 5 rounds from the strand because I found that if I have done 7 it will be too much. Now you can work a round of single crochet or crab stitch all the way around the border with the color that you use for your piece, or you can use a contrast color like me. I'm going to use the black. I have a slip knot. Let me zoom in a little bit, that way you can see a little bit better. Let me see if I can do this without moving my camera much. There we go. I'm going to pass it through here, pass the slip knot. I'm going to chain 1. I'm going to go to the next space, pass it through. On top of that double crochet, you have 2 strands, and you pass it through those 2 strands. Again, you grab that one, pass it to the front, and like that. And like this is a crab stitch. It's like a backward single crochet. And it will look really nice. And it will look nice like that when you flip your piece. But I'm gonna use now a different color, that way you can see a little bit better. I'm gonna use this one that I have here. Slip knot. So I'm gonna come here and I'm gonna pass through. Chain 1, go to the next space, and you see when you pass your hook, you're gonna grab the working yarn, you pass it through, and that working yarn always will be in the front near the hook, and you pass it through those 2. Again, you go to the next one, pass it through. You have 2. You see this one is the one that I just pulled out. Pass it through those 2, and like that's how you're gonna work your crab stitch. So it's very easy, it's very fast, and it will give you a really nice finish on the border of your color. So when I finish this, I will meet you here to work around the border of our poncho, okay? Now I'm going to work on the border of the poncho. I'm going to do a round of single crochet first with the color that I use for my poncho, and after that I will do a round of the crab stitch all the way around. I need to have a nice base for the crab stitch because I have chains and double crochet sideways here, so that's why the round of single crochet. Now if you don't want to do the crab stitch and you want to do fringes on your poncho, do the round of single crochet either with the color that you use for the poncho or the black or the color that you're using as a contrast, and you do a round of single crochet and then you do some fringes with the same contrast color. But for mine, since I'm gonna do the crab stitch, I'm gonna do my first round with the main color, and then with the black I will work around. So I'm gonna come here, this is the back of the piece, and I'm gonna go in one of the chain space, not in the tip but one in the side, and I'm gonna pass a slip knot. I'm gonna chain one, and in the same space I'm gonna do my first single crochet. I'm not counting single crochet, I'm just going by eyeing them. I don't want this part to be wrinkled, you know, like gathering, or neither wavy on the side, so you have to distance your single crochet as you go looking at your piece. Okay, so I'll be losing all the tails and the border that I have as I work. Also, if you don't want to do either fringes or the crab stitch, you can do a single crochet round with the black, and that's it. So I did one single crochet in the tip, I'm gonna do another one, and then I go to the next side space and I do my other single crochet, and that will give you more like a round tip. So I'll continue working with the single crochet. When I finish, I will meet you here to show you how to start again. This is the leftover from those 5 ball of yarn. I will use this for a hat. And the black is still the same because I hardly use any. That was just for the border on the top and the bottom. So you hardly use any of these. Now I will put it on my mannequin and I will show you the end result. Well, this is the end result, and it is absolutely gorgeous poncho. Very easy to do. and very fast. I absolutely love it. You can make this any size. If you want this bigger, you can do more V-stitch, and instead of 31 you can do more as long as an odd number. And when it's time to decrease, you will leave for another size 13 stitches. And the top, that's a good size for the neck or collar. And if you want this smaller for smaller girls, you can do that as well, as long as you have in the increase odd number. And when it's time to decrease, you can leave 9 stitches, 9 V stitches, 7 V stitches, 11. You can measure in your daughter's or granddaughter or niece, neighbor's girl, and that will be fine. I absolutely love it. Well, I hope you guys like it and give it a try, and subscribe to my channel if you are not already a subscriber. And if you make this beautiful poncho and you want to send me some pictures, you can do it through my Facebook page, Ruby Net Crochet y Tejido, or my Instagram, Ruby Net Crochet y Tejido. Please share my video with friends and family. That way you help me grow here in YouTube. I wish you have a beautiful day.